All right, we're back. You know, I was thinking it's high time I went to go get my dog. I want to go grab dog meat. There's a few things I can do along the way. I don't know. It's really like no set order of things that I have to do. Beautiful part of this game is that you can kind of just do what you want. I don't think I've ever played the game through the same way twice, honestly. I do remember that there's the schoolhouse down there by that little town that's right there at the entrance to Vault 101. I always go there and explore just because there's not a whole lot to be had. A couple skill books. I mean that's cool, but it's just kind of for the feels. I don't know. It's kind of like going to the Super Duper Mart. Even if it wasn't part of the Wasteland Survival Guide, I'd go there anyway, just to remember what it was like the first time I ever went there, how creepy it was and stuff. It's just anyway, good times, old memories. So the schoolhouse is kind of the same way. The first time I ever went to explore here, I think, man, I must have been here for hours. Just looking around and like, wow. You know, I'll tell you what. A big part of the feels that this game gives off, if you stop and you think about it, is, you know, a nuclear war, okay, you know, it's easy to say, okay, well, a bunch of people die. I mean, obviously, nuclear bombs go off everywhere, destroy everything. You know, you're the last remnants of humanity, and if you think about all the people that have passed, but I don't know, I hold children in pretty high regard in society, and think about all the children that are lost. These aren't children that pushed the buttons. These aren't children that started the war. These aren't children that were arguing over economies and borders and politics and, you know, whatever. These are kids who are just trying to go to school and play in the backyard and eat cereal and watch cartoons on you know, the weekend mornings. This type of thing. I mean, seriously. And, you know, they're the victims here in all this. In the grown-ups, all too serious games, you know, it's the kids who pay the price, really. You know, the grown-ups, if y'all gonna kill each other, well, y'all get what you deserve. You know, that's what y'all want to do. Well, y'all do that, but leave the kids out of it. But as soon as you push those buttons and let off those bombs, you know, everyone pays. And so you have a destroyed world. It had almost been better had we gone ahead and accomplished the task and just made ourselves extinct here. Because this world that we're left to live in here, you know, this post-apocalyptic universe, I mean, if you're alive in it, yeah, you make the best of it, but wow, I mean, how necessary was it? I mean, who made their point? Who got their point across? Who says I win in any of this shit, you know? And war never changes, right? I mean, that's kind of the obvious point, but the impact really comes home with me in this. They can throw in all the dark humor that they want and stuff, but there are some times in this game where you know, you come across a deserted playground, or you go to this schoolhouse right here and you see the little skeletons laying around, and, you know, you have to kind of numb yourself to it, or else stop and think, you know, wow, these are, you know, the children. How many, you know, and it's just gone, you know, future generations, hope of mankind, blah, 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 all just, you know, down the drain. And that's pretty serious stuff. Like I said, they put a dark humor on it. You know, they take the worst of the worst and then laugh it off, because what else are you going to do? Sit here and cry about it? Yeah, okay, well, the wasteland will swallow you up then. You know, you got to live, so you brush it off, and you toughen up, and really humanity becomes inhumane, you know. Of course, there's not really too much humane about pushing these buttons and dropping these bombs in the first place, was there? No, didn't seem to solve anything, in my opinion, but whatever. Anyway, here we are. Let's I'll tell you what, there's this one area in the game, I would like to try to find it. There may be more than one like this, but there's one in particular that I can think of, and I remember it being I don't think it's downtown. I think it's in the there's another area. It's more of a residential type area. Lots of apartments and stuff like this around, and busted out office buildings and stuff. I mean, you know, there's lots of places like that in the game. One place in particular, it's pretty streets crowded with a lot of buildings and stuff. There's like a playground. It might be right next to the old school. I might be able. I think it's not too far from the hospital. I'm sitting here, I'm sort of remembering the hospital you go to on the Riley Rangers quest. It may not be too far from that. I'll look around when I get there if I think about it. But anyway, it's this playground, and I discovered this when I had headphones on. And like I say, it may not be the only instance of this, but it's one that I specifically remember, and it was actually a game moment where I had the headphones on. I walked by this playground, and all of a sudden, on the wind, just barely, you can hear the sounds of children laughing and playing, just barely under the wind. And at first, it gave me chills, and then I actually had to stop and think about it, and then it all kind of came home. I guess it just happened at the right place at the right time when I was in the right frame of mind to stop and really, really think about it and envision, you know, all that was and then all that was lost when we killed off all the children, you know. Like I say, we kill off each other. That's our game. But, you know, when the children pay the price, it's just, that was, I don't know, it had a lot of impact. Anyway, I'll try to go by that area if we get over there. I planned on probably doing the Riley's Rangers thing. I just got to remember to do that before I go to the National Archives and do that whole thing. I don't know exactly how much of the side questing will get done in this game. Like I say, you can, you know, when you go down that road's almost endless. There's so many things to do in this game. It'd be impossible getting 10% of it done in a playthrough. I mean, without, you know, hitting the 1,000 video mark type of thing. I mean, the game's huge, but we'll try to do some stuff. I want to share some of my favorite game places and moments. So anyway, I'm thinking we might try to go find that one schoolyard, just because I remember it being a really significant place in my game experience. All right, so the schoolhouse obviously is home to a bunch of raiders now, and they're carefully guarding what few supplies they have here. There's also another little backstory. Okay, well, this kind of sucks going up against a assault rifle with a pistol. But there's a little backstory, and just give it to you briefly, is they were essentially trying to dig into Vault 101 through the basement of the schoolhouse. And they ran into an obstacle, and we'll find out what that was here shortly. But anyway, that's basically the backstory. That's what they're doing here. That's why they're still holed up here. And apparently things went bad. We'll kind of find out why. And then, you know, they had to stop doing whatever they were doing. But yeah, I guess they thought Vault 101 held something for... I guess they'd just go take the vault for themselves. And since they couldn't get in the front door because the vault doesn't, quote-unquote, let anyone in or out, right? Then they had to go the route of trying to tunnel in from the basement of the school. That was their idea, anyway. And what we hear right now is a bunch of ants, and they're in that next room, and that's actually where they were tunneling. Apparently they put up some barricades, so the ants gave them a problem. And they had to give up on that, so I guess essentially they were just going to live out the rest of their days here, just holed up in the schoolhouse or something, or find some other way to maybe try to burrow into Vault 101. I seriously doubt they could get through the walls once they got there, but you never know. What we've learned from, well, what we will learn from other vaults in Fallout 3, and what we definitely learned from New Vegas, is that no vault is really impenetrable. If it's not breached from without, then something happens from within, because each vault apparently has their own thing, experimental thing, kind of like a theme that they want to happen there. We will eventually come across a lady, what's her name? Agatha? I think her name's Agatha. Anyway, she wants us to go after a violin, and we wind up at one vault, and they had experiments going on. Once the doors were sealed, apparently the overseer is given to act out certain experiments or certain studies or something like that. And some of them were a little benign, but some of them were pretty aggressive, and wound up in all kinds of bad things happening to the vault residents. And so each vault you go in, you may find a history of something. Everyone knows about Gary, right? And the whole cloning thing. You've got that. I think that's vault, what is that? 80? What vault? Anyway, 90, 92? Anyway, we may go across that. It's not too far from the Canterbury Commons, where we have to go there anyway to invest in our merchants. And then let's see, you've got I think the vault where the Swa violin is. It's spelt soil violin, but it's the Swa violin. And apparently it's an actual real thing in history. If I'm not mistaken, the Swa violin is actually one of the Stradivarius violins that was actually made, and apparently here in the Fallout universe, it's like the last one. And perhaps it's one from our real history that's never been found or something. I don't know. Anyway, but from the gist of it, I gather that it's actually a real thing. And so you go looking for that, and I think their whole thing there was experimenting with some kind of like psychedelic gas or something. But it, you know, apparently drove everyone nuts or something like that. But it was supposed to be like a music, what do they call it, reservatory or whatever, where after the doors closed, they would keep all of the various kinds of music and instruments and things like that. And so I think the vault was filled with musicians that were, you know, leaders in their particular, you know, instrument or field of study in music and so on and so forth. It's like it's really cool. Each one has their own little thing, and I guess they were trying to preserve every facet of society. The problem is they took the science with them into the vaults that caused all this shit in the first place. That's my take on it. And so you know, it was doomed to failure. You know, you don't repeat the same actions expecting different results. You know, if you carry the bombs in with you, so to speak, well, yeah, then they're eventually going to go off. In other words, it wasn't going to end well, no matter what. But that's man's thinking, I guess. Too stubborn to admit that he's wrong. That he caused the very things that are destroying himself. All right, now someone up here, if you come here much later in the game, some of these locks are like pickable. I don't think you necessarily need the keys like to get into the basement where the ants are and stuff, but I think it's like it's a hard or very hard lock. So you need 75 or 100 at least to open it. Okay. Remember there being a raider in here. Why I'm going to this room specifically, if you notice across the hall, there were the letters on the wall. Look like the alphabet spelled out for the kids or whatever. There's a sheet music book in here. It's worth caps, but it seems like, speaking of that lady, Agatha, or whatever her name is, I think she wants one of these sheet music books as a bonus, and then you get like a bonus reward for her or something like that. Seems like I remember something like that. Doesn't matter. I just keep it for a keepsake. I mean, it's no big deal. I'm here anyway. Might as well grab it. Yeah, see those letters on the wall there? If you see those letters, it's the door directly across the hall. All right, now this would be the front door to the place, and then on top of this cage, and I don't know what's up with these cages. This isn't the only like lockup thing here. There may be a backstory to that, into what these cages here apparently use as little jails, and see lots of skeletons in some of them. And not all of adults, I think some of children too. But I'm not sure what the story is, why they're even here. Gotta think that it wasn't just the bombs falling, it's the lunacy of people knowing things are about to end, causing the end of all things, and then shortly after the end of all things, the lunacy of people, it would know no bounds. People, when threatened with their very life and existence and having no other way out, could be prone to any kind of behavior. So, I mean, atrocities are committed in wartime. I mean, that's in the real world. Wars that don't threaten the extinction of all mankind, wars that are between, you know, even small, you know, countries or nations or groups of people or whatever, it doesn't matter. Atrocities are committed. So if you can imagine a war on a world scale where the end of everything is imminent, how people would act and things that people would be prone to do, and how insane and thoughtless and mindless it could be. I mean, it's insanity to, I mean, it's an author's dream. You've got an open world there to play with. You could write books on the things that people would do and the little dramas that would play out in a situation like that. I don't know how I would react if I knew a bomb was falling on me right now. Like the nuclear missile is on its way. I can't get in the car and drive anywhere far enough, fast enough to avoid it. It's going to happen. What do I do? And then let's say the bomb's going to hit in a minute. I've got 60 seconds to live. What do I do? You know? Me personally, probably make a phone call. I talk to somebody, and it's about the only thing I can take with me. You know? I mean, it'd be open to the human mind. What could people do? The crazy of people would come out like that. I think they grab a lot of that here in Fallout 3. I noticed most of that missing in New Vegas. That is, in fact, now that I'm talking about it, it's a good point to mention is that whole ambience, that whole, a lot of the mentality of the world and stuff. Like, there's even NPCs you can talk to here in Fallout 3 that will describe what happened as the bombs fell. You know, some ghouls who were around back then. Ghouls apparently, once they become ghouls, their lifespan is extended dramatically, if not infinitely. I don't know, but you can talk. There's one lady in particular at Underworld, and I think it's Gob's mother, maybe, or something like that. Gob is, we'll meet him. He's in the bar at Megaton. We've eventually got to do that to carry out, like, the main story, because we've still got to go find our dad, but there's so much other stuff to do, right? Keep getting sidetracked. Like any other friggin' Bethesda game, you know? You got your plans to go do something, 20 levels and 30 hours later, you still haven't even started. You know, that's just kind of the way it goes. But, anyway, you talk to her in Underworld, and she will describe the insanity of people turning into animals. You know, just anybody and everybody, and your true nature, your hidden ego, or whatever, comes out in a situation like that, where it's not just life or death; it's death, and it's guaranteed. And then what do you do? You know, survival isn't really even a question anymore. It's just insanity and stuff. And wow, talk about bringing it home, and you see it in the little stories here. In things that you find in little areas that you go, you'll see evidence of atrocities that were committed, things that were done, things that people did, how they spent their last moments. There's all kinds of evidence like that, and some of it's just insane. It's lunacy, but it has, I don't know, it kind of has a ring of truth to it. Like, you could see that happening. Doesn't have to make sense. Who cares if it makes sense or not anyway? Who's going to hear about it? You know, everything's fixing to end, and it's just crazy. And I think that aspect of this game is just amazing because there's so much of it, and it makes the world real. It makes the, you know, this imaginary world much more real. My opinion, anyway. I'm sitting there playing around with these guys. I wasn't aware there was quite as many friggin' raiders right here. Having fun with my grenades. Sometimes I like to be careful on my grenade uses just because you can knock things out of the map. Like, I don't know about any of you that have played for a while, but how many times have you knocked a skill book into a place where you couldn't get it? Or literally out of the map, or through a wall, or somewhere probably outside of the Capital Wasteland. Oh, it probably still existed in the game, 50 miles out of bounds, out of the map, where you could never ever get it, you know, type of thing. How many times have you done that with a grenade? Yeah, you got to be careful. There were one or two glitches in the game. I remember. I don't know what they have and haven't fixed, but it was one of them was a skill book near the entrance of a vault. And from what I understand, on console there never was a fix. They found a way on PC, but you had to, like, stack a bunch of landmines on a certain part of a wall elsewhere in the vault, and then set it off, and then come back and make a certain jump. I mean, it was all this stuff. There was a way to get it. It was a I don't know, book on explosives, or just some skill book where you get a skill point or two. Right? But you had to go through, jump through all these hoops just to get it. That's not a lot of XP. Sure took a lot more bullets than I got XP for, didn't it? Yeah, anyways, just so explosives can have their uses for stuff like that. Fixing glitches and stuff. Anyway, if you look on here, I'll go ahead and just scroll through this real quick. Basically, the gist of it is they tried tunneling through the basement of the school here and ran into a bunch of giant ants and lost a few of their raiders and had to kind of barricade off that room. And now they kind of don't know what to do. I guess they're not leaving the school, but they don't want to do any more burrowing because they can't get past the ants. And so there you have it. And if we want all the stuff that's down there, we're going to have to fight through the ants ourselves. We're going to have to do alone what all these raiders couldn't do. Go figure. And, there's a skill book there. I believe there's another skill book down in the basement itself with all the ants and stuff. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we needed the key for upstairs to get to that computer and get all the good stuff there. And then you need this key here to get in the downstairs door. But like I say, if you have a lockpick skill of whatever, 75 or 100, then you could get in anyway. You wouldn't have to do all this. But I would miss that loot upstairs regardless. Right, so now all that's left is dealing with these ants. Like I say, this is just something I didn't have to come here. This is totally optional. This is one of the millions of places in Fallout 3 that you don't have to visit. It's not essential to any quest or anything per se, but it's a little story, and like I say, it adds to the whole environment. It adds to the whole ambience of the world. You know, the whole experience, I think. And they took the time to detail this place out. The beautiful thing is there's really no copy and paste dungeons or areas here. Most of the buildings are unique. You know, something like this, you won't find another. You may find other areas where there's tunneling done. You're going to find, of course, all your subways and this and that, and you'll have tunnels. But this place, you know, is unique, like most other places. The whole world was designed special. And then, of course, above ground, you have the historic value of all the like the landmarks and stuff. Like, you know, if you're from the U.S., then Washington, that's essentially, you know, the capital of your country. That would be symbolic of a lot of your founding fathers, a lot of your history, a lot of your victories as a people, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And so when you go and you see it decimated, you see it destroyed, you see it altered and changed and taken over by an irreverent band of super mutants or raiders or ghouls or whatever, and I mean, it just adds to the whole feel of the world. I don't know how to, I don't even know how to put it into words. I'm not that poetic, but tell you what, it's just amazing to me. I don't ever cease to be amazed at just how much work and thought they put into every bit of it. Not just the design and the artwork and all that, but the dialogue, the music, the look and feel, the style of everything from the buildings to the blown up cars to the broken down bridges and overpasses and stuff. And you can picture what was, but then you see it as it is now, and it's just, I don't know, it's awesome, man. I could just go on and on, and I do. I just go on and on. It's you know, one of my favorite things. I hope they capture this in Fallout 4. Now, true enough, New Vegas was a Obsidian project. They had a different angle. They were emphasizing different things on that. I think the whole feel of the world, gameplay environment, post-apocalyptic ambience, I think that wasn't really their focus. They didn't really capture that. I'm hoping in 4 we'll get a lot more of that. A lot more of what I miss from this game. I really hope they bring subways back. For those of you that are claustrophobic and stuff, maybe don't make it mandatory where you have to spend half the game down in the subways or whatever. But I wouldn't personally mind. For those that are bothered by that, well, I get not wanting to have to go down there all the time. But me personally, so much down there that it's just another aspect of the whole thing they do to really bring the whole, you know, world's been destroyed thing home. Okay, let me see if I can kind of clump these guys together. This will make use of these grenades while I have them. I can't sell them for a whole lot right now. Later on, they'll be worth a bit more. Once my barter goes up, which it inevitably will. Right now, I'm not sinking points in the barter or speech. The speech checks that I'm passing, a lot of them I'm having to reload and retry quite a few times to get it. And it's more for you guys. A lot of them I don't care if I pass them or not. It's XP that I'm not worried about. If I want to make up for XP I lose in speech checks, I can just go kill a few random enemies. You know, when you play on very hard, you get 50% bonus XP anyway. For each kill, for everything you do, for every quest. Instead of 1,000, you'll get 1,500 for a quest. You know, this type of stuff. Okay, and so I'm not really worried about that. It's mainly passing it so you guys can see the results. You know, pass a particular speech option with somebody, especially a tough one, and you see that they might give you a shortcut, they might give you an item, they might give you a funny response, they might open up that person to maybe give you another quest that you otherwise wouldn't, just something like that. So I'm doing it specifically for that reason. If this was my own playthrough, there's a lot of them I wouldn't waste time with. I really wouldn't. But, it's kind of nice to play this a lot, so I kind of know where a lot of those are. and can prepare. You'll notice I'll make a quick save before talking to certain NPCs, because I already know their speech check chance might only be like 4 or 5% with the current speech level I have now, so I may have to retry that attempt maybe 20, 25 times. And in some cases I have here. But just to kind of get the full deal with, each of the NPCs and stuff. Trying to pass that along to you guys. Anyway, all for funs. And some of them, they just say some really funny stuff anyway, so it's worth it. Okay, so what's really cool is when you level, you can come down here and you can look at skills. And you can say, hey, I want that. And then off to the right, you can see what you need. It's really good when, like, you'll see something that says you need maybe your energy weapons at 60, for example. I think concentrated fire or something, which is nice to have if you use VATS. There's times where I use VATS, times that I don't. But something like that, I think you need energy weapons of like 60 or something. Well, that's not something I even invest in, so I might want to think to throw a few points in here and there. So eventually, at some point, I can grab that perk when I run out of perks to grab. Once I get into my 20s, I'll pretty much have everything I want. It's nice having those extra 10 levels to go back and grab perks that you may have had to kind of pass over, especially when you had to make a choice. To me, it seems like between levels 12 and 18 is where, I've got like 6 or 7 perks to choose out of about 10 or 12 that I really want. So I may still be picking some of those really early perks much later in the game, and there's some where they have several ranks, which are the kind of convenience ones like explosives. Even though I may not use explosives a whole lot, I'll play around with them if I've got them, but mostly, I'm running with guns. But if I do lay a mine, especially a bottle cap mine, or use a nuka grenade, well, I want it to have a bunch of punch. And so there's like, 3 ranks, I think, of the one that gives you extra explosive damage. And, that's 3 levels right there. And so those extra levels later are pretty cool for convenience. Usually by that point in the game, though, things have gotten a little easier, aren't so bad. I kind of like challenging myself with this. This Raider armor has almost no damage resistance whatsoever, and it degrades really, really fast. And so maybe it's because of the harder difficulty, but it can go from, I think it starts with like a 2 damage resistance or something, and it can go to 1 and 0 and sometimes 1 fight. I mean, I've had armor degrade really, really quickly. Maybe a higher repair skill slows that down some, but still, regardless, it degrades really, really fast. And so, aside from constantly picking up Raider armor and constantly repairing it, I'm essentially running around with clothes. I like the way the paint spike armor looks. I think it looks cool, right? It's very Raider-ish, And so that kind of plays into the role that I'm playing with my character here. But whatever. My other one would be, and you'll see it on my New Vegas character, is I think it's the Merc Charmer. I think it's the Charmer outfit. That's my other favorite. And honestly, I think that one actually gives bonuses. It gives maybe barter and small guns. Possibly barter and small. I don't remember. Anyway, it gives you a couple points to some skills. I think all the Merc outfits will give you some little tiny bonus, something or another. Something's attacking me. I can tell by the music. Ah, first Rad Scorpion. What's up, dude? I like the glands that these guys drop. Actually, I think you need their glands to, is it the railway rifle or the dart gun? It's the dart gun, right? It's something you can make like poison darts. I believe you use the poison glands from these. It doesn't matter. I don't use them anyway, but I will sell them for caps. Most definitely. Worth about the same as some vodka. Hey, early on, every little bit counts. Every pack of cigarettes, carton of cigarettes, bottle of vodka, whiskey, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much going in my pocket. I'm going to sell it to somebody. 5 caps here, 10 caps there. It adds up eventually. The sheer amount of loot in the game, if you think about it, every enemy that you fight, the beautiful part about this, and I like this about Oblivion, I guess it was the same with Skyrim too, is if you saw it on the enemy, that's what you get. Whatever they're wearing and whatever they're using on you, once you beat them, your reward is you can have that. So if you find somebody shooting you with a really sexy gun, you can have that gun if you want it. And I think that's awesome. That's kind of another kind of facet of realism that Really adds a lot to the game. Here's somebody fighting it out with lasers over there. I'm going to assume it's a robot. Find random robots wandering around. Man's technology gone awry. Of course. And we got a caravan. And you don't want to lose these guys. I do believe I've lost these guys in-game. I don't think I've ever come across a dead caravan, you know, like, say, Lucky Harith or Crazy Wolfgang or anything, but I've missed them to where I've waited in one of their spawn spots over and over and over, and I never saw them again. So I'm assuming they died.
Welcome to my humble caravan. Please relax, for we are in a place of safety.
This one is, of course, my favorite.
The type of safety that can only be ensured by an abundance of weaponry, both wicked and awesome, all of which can be yours for the right price. See, the world's a dangerous and unbalanced place. So I realized the only way to bring peace was to make sure that everyone could be dangerous. So, with a little bit of help from the mayor of Canterbury Commons, I set up this caravan. I can't give the weapons away for free, but I come close.
Alright, anyway, let's see what he's got. Now, like I say, once you invest with the mayor of Canterbury Commons, which each of these merchants, I believe, will tell you about that specifically, if you ask. And that's basically to get you over there. And once you invest in everybody, this guy in particular, oh, he starts carrying a bunch of 308 rounds. He's got like anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 caps available to spend at all times. And so if you want to unload all that really, really high dollar gear, like plasma rifles and junk like that, this is the guy that, well, all the merchants will be able to buy them once they're all upgraded. Anyway, it's good to know he's around, that I haven't lost him in the game. Like I say, it would suck to lose him. 5.56 ammo. There'll be several ways to get that. That's going to be important because the infiltrator, perforator use those. Thankfully, they can be repaired with your common assault rifles, which are pretty easy to find. Another thing about them, I think I mentioned this in another video, was that they, once you invest in them, their repair skill goes way up also. And so if I say I can't find anything to fix that one particular set of armor or weapon that I'm using all the time, I just can't come across any, spare parts or anything, then you can go to one of these guys, and it may be expensive, but by then you've got plenty of money anyway. Cap shouldn't be a problem. But they can repair it to almost 100% condition. And that's pretty cool. It's come in handy before. Okay, now if I'm not mistaken, this is Agatha's house right here. I'm not going to go in right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and discover this. This is a quest I probably won't do. If you follow her quest out all the way, although there's 1 or 2 shortcuts, I believe, but essentially what she has you do is go downtown to the Vault Tech headquarters to find the location of all the vaults. I know where they are anyway, but she'll have you do that. You go through their headquarters, and there's, of course, lots of traps and stuff, I think robot guards and what have you. Anyway, it's an adventure in and of itself. And then you find the location of the vault you need to get to, assuming you haven't found it already, and then you go there, and you go through a series of stuff, and you kind of learn the backstory of that vault, and then get her violin and bring it back to her. And then if you give it to her, and I believe you have to pass a speech check, and maybe you need to give her the sheet music too, or something. I don't remember. And there's some particular thing you have to do, and she gives you like a key to a box or something, and you get the Blackhawk, and it's a special scoped 44. I would go for that for Clover, who I plan on having as a follower eventually. But she tends to drop her guns, and so I'm real hesitant to give a unique weapon to any follower. As I, I hate to lose it.
You want a little something?
It's one of the few weapons she'll actually equip. That's the thing. And if you wonder why, it's the, I think it goes by the base damage or overall DPS of the weapon, but like, it's really hard to get her to get rid of her sawed-off shotgun because it's got a high DPS, although it's relatively ineffective. She's, in my opinion, not very good with it. Give her scope 44 and she becomes a beast. I mean, she starts popping. You have to keep her in a lot of rounds because she's going to fire off like the thing's an SMG or something. It's crazy. It's kind of like giving a Cass a, what is it, a hunting shotgun in New Vegas. I mean, she just goes off with it. She's totally out of control. And so, anyway, give her those. But like, I won't give her the unique one because she'll lose it and I won't be paying attention. And then I'll have to backtrack and think to go back and then look around who knows where for one little gun on the ground, and it's, yeah, okay. Not worth it. It's a couple extra points of damage. The Blackhawk's better in my hands. As a main character, it's better off in my hands, if I'm going to use it. And it's definitely a cool weapon to use. It's not one I'm probably going to concentrate on in this game, but it's definitely worth having. All right, so we're not too far from the scrapyard, junkyard, where we'll find dog meat, junkyard dog. Dog meat is like Lydia in Skyrim. He will go find a door that you're about to walk through and just stand there. He'll do that, but outside of that, he's just awesome. He'll go find things for you and just hang with you, and he's an absolute tank. He'll draw the heat. Nothing worse in the game than losing dog meat, so, he's like, yeah, I'll draw the enemy attention, but you better take care of him quick type thing, and actually, he's got just about as many hit points as Fox, so I'm not really worried about it. I've heard of people that have a problem with losing dog meat, and I'm like, I've seen dog meat take on a ghoul reaver for like 5 minutes, getting slapped on by a group of ghouls, I mean, literally surrounded, and he's just snarling away and biting back and just saying, take your time, go ahead, kill him off whenever you're ready. And I've seen him tank that. He's lost some health, but not really ever even close to dying. So I have to wonder how people are losing him. I don't know what the difference is in the game. I know when you first get him, you have an option to give him a stim pack as soon as you get him. And basically you tell him, hey, hold on, here's a stim pack. This will make you feel better. Uh-oh, this isn't cool. And maybe not giving that to him then causes him to be weaker throughout the rest of the game or something. I don't know. But the only time I can think of that I've ever lost dog meat is if he's glitched like off of a cliff or something. Because say I've jumped down a hill and he's had to walk all the way around and he got stuck in something, and then the game threw him under the map and then killed him, type of thing. But not any natural way. I don't think he's ever died just straight up from fighting or something. I can't think of any time I've ever lost him. He's just an absolute badass. Yeah, he's my faithful road dog. Yeah, I mean literally. So. I don't know. If you've had problems with him, I'd be curious to hear why. If you know why, maybe, if he's been really, really weak in your party. He's always been a absolute tank for me. In fact, well, I'm usually really evil by then, so Fox doesn't really want to hang out anyway. But yeah, I would compare him to Fox, health-wise. Anyway. So regardless, we're going to go grab them. There's going to be a few things where we can't take them along anyway, like the pit. You have to go do that by yourself. And that's probably the only DLC I'm really going to mess with. I'm certainly not going to go do the Mothership Zeta. I was never a fan of that. That's some part of the lore that just doesn't really tickle my fancy, personally. Let me think. I'm not going to go to... I'm not going to take the riverboat. And go off to Inbred Island, whatever that resort place is, where all the hillbillies are. Probably not going to do that. That is a pretty big DLC. Remember that. It's a lot of area. I mean, it's worth it. I already have Broken Steel installed. And that in and of itself is quite a bit to do because, well, you have more content in the game. Once the main story, quote-unquote, is done, it extends it a lot, and you get some new areas and stuff. It's actually pretty cool. The presidential tunnel and the Air Force Base and stuff. I mean, that's pretty cool. I think we'll probably do that. And so we'll get the main story. We'll get that done. We'll find most, if not all, the bobbleheads, and locate a few places, do a few things, go to the pit. Like I say, I want my gun. I was really tempted to just make a beeline for it and start the game like that, so I'd have it. But by the time I'd leave the pit early on, I'm gonna be level 9 or 10 anyway, just from going there, because there's some main quests you have to complete just to get to the point where you can go to the steel yard and grab your ingots and get the number of ingots you need just for your just to get the gun as a reward. You need 90 out of the 100 just to get the gun. Although I don't have to technically get the perforator either. I could just go with infiltrators and just really make a beeline through the whole pit storyline. You can do it relatively fast if you skip a bunch of stuff. But once I'm out in the steel yard, I might as well. I know where. In fact, I may redo the 100 ingots video. I may actually redo it. Come to think of it, do a higher quality version of it, because we'll be out in the steel yard anyway. Maybe replace my other one. It seems to be a semi-popular video. People who've run into a problem with either finding all the ingots or falling through the glitch in the roof on that one warehouse building. If you've fallen through it, you know what I'm talking about, and it takes all your progress away. If you're like me, you hadn't saved in a couple hours, you've been looking all over the steel yard for ingots, then you fall through the stupid roof, and you have to reload. Go back to your last save and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, there's a way to fix it. I did do a video on fixing that and getting the ingots, so I'll probably redo it now that I have a little bit better quality video capture. Anyway, found our buddy dog meat, and so right there, I always make sure to do this. He always seems to need one when I find him, so maybe that is a key to how effective he's going to be as your road dog through the rest of the game. I don't know, but like I say, he can tank albino rat scorpions and ghoul reavers and those friggin' overlords with their tri-beam lasers. He can just sit there and take it. I don't know what his defenses are, but it's just ridiculous. And that's cool because, especially playing on this difficulty, especially early, it's nice to have somebody who can draw some of the heat off you, especially when some of the enemies can 1- and 2-shot you. Like now, I'd be a little more comfortable with going up against, say, some of those, those mercenary bands, or some hired killers that are out after me and stuff. There's some regulators or whatever, I'd be much more comfortable fighting some of them. Anyway, all right, from here we'll go to Minefield, I guess. All right, take care of that part of the survival Wasteland Survival Guide. Y'all take care. Thanks for watching. I'll subscribe. Click that button up top. And until later, I will catch you on the next one.